But let's dive right in. Just first, a couple comments on the process that we are following. As you saw, we sent out a recurring invitation for your electronic calendars. So now you should all have these meetings in your calendar. And Jeremy has figured out a way that basically the Zoom coordinates will stay the same every week. So you won't need to get new Zoom coordinates every week. And so that should make things a little bit easier as well. And finally, it's likely that Jeremy may stop hosting these meetings every time, in which case the co-chairs will serve as the hosts, will be entrusted with the password to the town Zoom account. So everything will happen the way it does, but Jeremy won't have to be sitting on here babysitting us the way that he does now. So Jeremy, before you go, we appreciate all the effort you've made, so thank you for that. I guess one final note, we were told that Erin Stevens, who is the town's public information officer, is going to be joining the meetings going forward. She RSVP'd that she couldn't come today, so that may mean that she'll start in 2 weeks, but given the amount of communication that surrounds everything we do, I think it'll be a great addition to have her here, and we'll be able to hopefully kind of move even more quickly from a communication standpoint when there are things to communicate. So I don't know if that was your suggestion, Stephen, but thank you.
It was not really. She'd expressed an interest in doing this, doing more kind of public policy and public administration kind of work. And so you're right about the fact that her ability to use our communications tools quickly is very beneficial. Actually, you mentioned Bride, she's off getting married, right, I think, as we speak, which is why she couldn't be here. So no, if you don't know Erin, she's very smart, and I think it will be a good addition. Kate Hodges has been focused on obviously recreational programs in our after school programming. So she'll basically take on that responsibility for Kate.
Okay, great.
It is, John, it is very helpful to have the link to the meeting attached to the notice of it.
So we'll keep doing that as well.
Yeah,
right?
I think you mentioned it might drop off. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, we will continue to do that as well. And if for some reason Jennifer and I don't do that, you can always go to the town's website, download the agenda, and it will be in that agenda on the website as well. But we will endeavor to make sure that we get the link out to everybody the day before. Okay. Okay, let's go to the first administrative matter, which is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Ms. Lauer did a wonderful job as usual. Did anybody have any comments on the draft that was circulated? No comments? Okay, are we then?
I wasn't able to open them. I'm not sure what the difference is.
Not sure, to tell you the truth. You got them twice. You got them once from Jennifer directly, and then they're also appended to the second page of the agenda that goes out. But I guess if you're comfortable abstaining, Steve, and letting the rest of us vote.
Okay.
Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as circulated.
So moved.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is there a second? Okay, we're going to go around the window for a roll call vote. Jennifer?
Yes. Aye. Yes.
Dawn?
I think I need to abstain. I wasn't at the meeting
I'll call you
last
back.
time.
Call you back.
Okay. Jan?
Here.
Thank you. Deborah?
Yes.
Jan? I'm sorry, Jane?
Yes.
Jen?
I did read through them, but I wasn't at the meeting. I don't know if that matters.
I think we need your vote, so if you don't mind voting in favor, that would be
I
appreciated.
am happy to vote in favor.
Thank you. Ramon?
Aye.
And I vote in favor, and Steve will abstain. So I think that gives us enough
Beth?
votes to approve it unanimously.
Beth just joined.
Oh, hi, Beth. Do you want to
Here.
vote in favor of the meeting, of the minutes from last meeting?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to the.
Very quickly to tell you, we had a massive flood of from the septic system, not in Orchard House proper, but in the building right next door. ServPro is there now. It's a horrible mess. So I just was on the phone. I'm not physically there right now, but we're trying. The person whose office got absolutely hit, I've got to talk to her. So I apologize. I'll be a little bit in and out. I'm so sorry.
We're so sorry to hear that.
I know,
Um,
it's horrible, but hey, who wants anything like this? Never. So you
Okay.
take it.
All right, you have a hall pass. Okay, so why don't we go on to the updates from the town? Beth, your timing is perfect. Do you and or Stephen want to give us a town side update?
Stephen?
We can tag team it, Beth. And I think some of you were on the business partnership call earlier, so I'll apologize in advance for the redundancy, but the big highlights are we've implemented that liquor license rebate / credit program, 25% rebate or credit. We left it up to the select board authorized me to basically implement the program however we thought worked best, and we sent an email to the restaurants and asked them, and some would like a credit towards 21, and some would rather have a rebate for 20. So we've set it up so they can have their choice, which the finance department really, it's a little bit of extra work, but not a lot. And they were willing to do that to give the maximum flexibility. I think I did announce last time that there is that rebate program for outdoor electric heaters as well. And the select board recently voted to extend or to recommend extending the suspension of meter enforcement through December 31st. I did present on Monday at 4:00 at their meeting. I did present an analysis of the revenue loss for the town. I fully support doing that. It's the right decision. It's money well spent, but I just wanted to let the board know what the cost to the town was. We have a meter officer position that's currently vacant, so we're not going to fill that. But we do have a contract that we're obligated to pay a certain amount each month to our third-party vendor who helps maintain the meters. The meters do need maintenance, even though they're not, on. But they're, as you guys know, they're basically a mini computer on top of a post, and so they do require maintenance. And so, and our line markings, our pavement marking program is also funded from the parking revenue. And Mark asked this question earlier. We collect between $300,000 and $400,000 a year in parking revenue, just in the 3 business districts. So it's at least a couple $100,000 that in revenue that we're foregoing. But again, I think that's money well spent. I think the feedback from the business community has been great on the meter enforcement. But I just wanted to communicate what I told the board on Monday. But again, it's absolutely the right call. I just wanted folks to know that there was a cost associated with that.
Mark?
Stephen, so maybe the good news is that given the pandemic, meter revenue would be way down anyway. So the town isn't really losing much money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're right. The volume of parking is certainly, the parking demand is down, Mark, you're right. But like I said, I think and like I said, we reduced some expenditures from the account, but the rest of it will be offset by the general fund, which again, I think is the right choice. So then we also, Beth has been working on sponsors for a third drive-in movie. I'll be candid and say that the school is probably not going to be an option for a site because school is back and there will be back very shortly, and there will be activities and stuff like that. So we may want to think about a different location for that. And then I know the sidewalk sales have been successful. I think we're trying to work on doing a few more of those. We have some lessons learned from the last one. It was like the good news, bad news. The good news is there's so much demand. The bad news is we ran out of barriers to set up the parklets. And so we're having a discussion internally about how can we build those a little differently and be a little more economical with the barriers and the gates and the fence and the dividers and stuff like that. So Beth, I don't know if you have anything. I'm sure you do have more that you could add to that. So
on the movie, just quickly, we do have the full funding for another one. So if we can find a venue, that will happen. We already have the rights to Little Women. So that would be the movie. So if anybody can think of locations, the company that we use is based in Needham, and they're happy to come out and scout and give advice and opinion. Mark, did you have a location?
So what are the parameters, or what are the nice to haves as far as location, as far as the number of spots, maybe the setup that would typically work well for you?
So the high school parking lot was 500 feet wide, which actually was less than ideal because it means we had to have 2 screens because that width was a little bit too wide for just one set of sight lines. So the deeper, the better. So the one they've had really good success with is at Salem State. In terms of the depth of the parking lot, it's a little deeper than it is wide. We'd like to fit 100 cars, which really means we need close to 200 spots. Because that allows us to have a little breathing room between the cars. We know that people do want to sit with their trunks open and tailgate sort of within their cars. And that's a little, if you're right next to somebody, even though you're in your car, you're still sort of outside near somebody. So we'd like to have as much distance as possible. So something that comfortably fits 200 cars is ideal. You know, light posts and trees, those are all sort of impediments. So, you know, a wide open field that's really a parking lot is probably our first choice. I will say the screens are 40 feet and they sit 12 feet off the ground. So they are capable of being up and elevated. So that helps some sight lines. So those are sort of the things we're looking at. They have they have several screens. We can do more than one if we want, but the price for the whole event for the 2 screens is about $5,000, which is what we have so far in sponsorship.
Is Kai's Road an option?
I don't know actually. I'll ask Steve Dukran. He's like my awesome engineer, and he he took the CAD drawing, so I can have him think about that one and see if he can think the screen on one side and the cars on the other. It's not a bad idea. I just don't know if it would fit enough.
I would think Crosby's now closes at 7, so they might be willing to do it as well.
That's a good idea. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I'll say the Bradford Mill, our lot is not as big as you'd like, but the lot that we have at the end of Bradford Street, I think it normally holds 100 to 125 cars.
Okay.
Again, smaller than you'd like, but if there's no place else, maybe you just limit the number of cars, or we do, 2 cars per 3 spaces or something.
Yeah.
So that is available if nothing else works out for you.
Great.
What about Steve? Do you think there's room at the farm? Or is
If it doesn't rain too much, it'd be great.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the risk. I don't know. I was wondering about 300 Baker Avenue.
Yeah,
That's
that one
a
too.
good- That's good, yeah.
You guys are great. All right. I'll take a look at it. I mean, ideally we'll do it, late September, October at this point. Before it gets too cold, people can still sit in the trunk of their cars and things like that. So if you think of any other place, let me know, but I'll circle back with engineering and see if they can think of anything else. And I do have an update on the community block grant from Marcia. So the good news is the money is coming. The application will be ready and online Monday or Tuesday of next week. They are sending us a toolkit. Ashland, who is our lead partner, is sending us a toolkit on Friday of this week that Marcia and I will review, and it comes with marketing materials and promotional materials and ways to get the word out. Marcia and I are meeting Tuesday at noon to consolidate all the email lists that we have. I have about 200 right now on my email list. And then obviously we will send it to the chamber and the business partnership, to this committee, to Concord Together, and anybody else that has a list, business partnerships, downtown districts. Helen from the Concord Flower Shop usually is my go-to for West Concord business listings. So as soon as that's out, the one thing we did hear was the turnaround is going to be very quick, in the neighborhood of 2 weeks. So if we expect that application to come out on the 8th, they will all be due in a very, very quick amount of time. What that means, another piece of good news, is that the money will then come in really quickly. So we are getting $210,000 that we can distribute in grants of up to $10,000 per request. So look for an email with an application link from me or Marcia or Jane, or probably, if the worst thing that happens is you guys get it from 6 places, then that's great. Marcia and I will literally pound payment if we need to next week and make sure that everybody knows that the grants are available and out there. So it will be a link. I don't know what the application will look like yet, but they've spent a long time, I think, making it as streamlined as possible. We are looking at a review committee internally, and then our partners are all going to review. So hopefully the process, once the application point closes, will be quick to get the money into those that need it.
Beth, can you just remind me, what is the maximum amount that a business can receive? And what's there?
10,000, up to 10.
10,000.
Yep.
And is there an income limit on the owner or the business itself? I forget.
There is. Yeah, there's some, there's tax guidelines for that. That's already out there.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's 5 or less business, 5 or less employees, and it does have income restrictions as well. And the a lot of you heard this morning about the signage for Shop Local. Jen tells me that they're in, and she's going to drop them off at the visitor center tomorrow. So there'll be 50 in the visitor center to start with. I already had somebody come in and looking for them, so that's great. And then the town ordered another 100 that'll be in next week. So they'll be in for anybody that needs them.
Okay. Mark?
Beth, is there a, and apologize if this is a silly question, but if I go to your office's website, is there a place that says, you know, the community chest grant works like this, and this grant is the micro business is this? And so specifically, I'd love to send a note to some small businesses I'm familiar with, including some tenants that say, hey, you know, here's a link to go check this out. It'll give you what resources are sort of globally available. So it's one-stop shopping as opposed to going to different spaces.
Yeah, there's a COVID page for businesses both on the town website and on my website. I'll send you guys all the link after this meeting. Okay. The new grant, this grant's not up there yet, but everything else should be.
Great.
Great. Thank you, town. Appreciate it. Jennifer or Jane, who'd like to give a Concord Together update? Jennifer?
I can, and Jane, if I miss something, jump in here. So yeah, the signs are with the visitor center. The summer solstice was extremely successful. We had more than 200 passports turned in, which represents 2,000 shopping and dining experiences that this group enabled. So congratulations to everybody who worked so hard. And it was so successful that we've run the program right into same game, different name, called Fall in Love with Concord. And it's a fall passport, same rules, keeping it nice and simple. We did our second drawing today. Beth, we've already got a couple dozen passports in, don't we?
Yeah, there were 30 this morning.
That's great. That's great. And to help put a little bit more focus on our restaurant friends, the 2 weeks from September 21st to October 5th, we're doing a little bonus of eat out, take out, dine in, and you get a double stamp on your passport. So we're going to really be encouraging people in those 2 weeks to connect with our restaurants, support our restaurants. And at the end of those 2 weeks, there's a special drawing for all the passports that are in of a year of eating out in Concord. 2 very generous families have purchased 12, I think $50 gift cards to various restaurants around town to really put a spotlight on our restaurants. And one, I think, thing was really key and a nice thought on the Concord Together side was for the fall campaign. We're not asking the stores or the restaurants to donate the cards. We're asking Concordians to step up and buy those cards and donate them, which has been successful. We just didn't think it was fair to ask the same group that we're trying to help to then donate more stuff. So the Concord Together Business Fund, I think we've already shared this with the group. We did hit a very important milestone, and the Rasmussen family very, very generously has matched that $100,000, giving the fund a total of $200,000 to help local businesses. For the moment, the grants are capped at $2,500, but the criteria are really flexible. It's basically just that you needed help to respond to COVID. So, you know, if you're transitioning to e-commerce, if you're redoing the flow in your store to deal with capacity, if you're, you know, in expanding your space outside for outdoor dining, even just help with the bills to recover from being closed. All of those things qualify. So please tell your friends, apply. There is money, and the town all came together to help everybody. So let's make sure that doesn't just sit in a bank account somewhere. ConcordTogether.com or the Concord Carlisle Community Chest both have links to the application. If there's any questions, Jennifer Olbadino from the Community Chest has just been phenomenal in helping us to administer the grants, and she's there to help. The next big focus for Concord Together, and probably something that this group should look at too, is the upcoming holidays. It's really going to be extremely challenging for both retailers and restaurants. It's traditionally a time of year where a large percent of annual revenues are brought in, but with capacity limitations, there's a real challenge. So, you know, the challenge is to help everybody, optimize their e-commerce capabilities, or perhaps create e-commerce capabilities if they don't have them. Really have a cohesive communication strategy to let Concordians know how to shop online, push to have people think about holiday shopping early when they can, and perhaps some sort of delivery support service or runners to post office UPS for deliveries. And then, you know, just all the creative thinking you can get around helping everybody optimize holidays in a really tough time. So that's going to be the focus of the first half hour of tomorrow's call for Concord Together. And I think that's pretty much it. Jane, did I miss anything?
No, you did a great job.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So Jennifer, I'd like to pause there for a second because you said creative thinking will be key. We have a bunch of creative thinking people here on the call. Does anybody have any ideas, or can we do any brainstorming on other ways that we can help direct shoppers to the merchants, to the restaurants as the holidays approach? Anything that we haven't thought of yet? Jen?
One thing I thought is just now is, could we have maybe a weekly, like in November and December, a weekly or bi-weekly evening shop? I'm not feeling as positive about the holiday season right now, but it's more just because of school and staffing. So right now, at best, I'm going to be able to be open Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so what I'm trying to do is come up, and I was going to do this on my own, but I thought possibly maybe it's more interesting, is the things I'm going to do are survey my customer list and see if there are evenings that would work or early mornings that they want to shop. Like I'm trying, because every parent I know is in the same boat. So I don't know if we could do something like that, like a 6 to 8 or 6 to 8:30. I'm also going to try and do, since I can have 7 people in my store, including staff, I'm going to try and offer 5-person shopping get-togethers with your friends. There's not going to be food or drinks or any of that, but we could have, if I have 5 people that want to come in at 6:30 to 8 o'clock for an hour and a half window, I will open up. And I don't know. So that's just something. When are the hours when parents are going to be able to shop?
Jen, we talked in I forget which meeting it was now. When I lived in Paris, there was a thing called a white night, which was this is back a long time when I had a lot more energy than I do now. But it meant that you would literally go out and party all night long because the metro in Paris closed from midnight till 5 a.m. So it meant you were committed to staying out all night long until the morning metro came because no one could afford a taxi. But what if we did an adapted version of a white night for one night, like the week before Christmas, or like when the kids are home from college and they've probably not done their shopping yet, when A, you might have some extra help for staffing, and B, it's something to do for these younger folks. You know, would that be fun to organize, like one night when all the stores or restaurants that want to participate would stay open till, say, midnight? I don't know what the thinking is about that.
Jennifer?
I don't know if I have the energy till midnight. I would in Paris, well, 20 years ago. I would think, I can think about it. Again, it's, I'm going to have to do it more than once because when you're limited to 7 people in the store, I just have to have volume, but I'm open to.
Yeah, we've been trying to think too, because we always had the early bird sale in West Concord. And that is, it's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And that is always the biggest day of the entire year in our store. And we count on that to sort of start the holiday shopping. So we've been trying to figure out how we might do that. And staying open all night or to midnight doesn't have that appeal to me, Jennifer. So,
I want to build on Jen's original idea, which I think was, it's a really good one, because I'm hearing about so many parents who are trying to figure out how to adapt to this new school schedule, right? There are these academic pods that are forming up now, and parents trying to find, ways to give their kids something to do on the days when they're not going to be in class. And if you think about what normally happens in the fall, all the elementary schools always have these community building activities. Like at Alcott, they have a big thing on Halloween. The road does stuff. I don't know what they do at Willard, but I'm guessing that a lot of that stuff isn't going to happen this fall. And at the same time, those parents and those school families are going to be hungry for opportunities, I think, to build community. I wonder if we could organize shopping nights around the schools. What if we had, for example, Thoreau School night shopping or whatever, and we offered some kind of promotion to encourage the Thoreau families to come and bump into each other casually in the street and do their shopping. We could do a different night for each of the elementary schools. So that way you spread it out a bit. You don't risk having too many people downtown. But I think that families would appreciate the opportunity there, that just knowing that their friends might be around. And if you think about what we do with the night when Santa comes in the Christmas Center, kids love that event, right? We wouldn't want anything that crowded, and I don't think these would be that crowded, but it might be something that the community would really respond to. And the kids could run around, do their thing while the parents shop. And depending on how much the shopkeepers wanted to do it, we don't need to be open until midnight, because again, we got little kids around. But we could have snacks in the stores, and it could be a really fun community building event.
Are we allowed to have snacks in the stores? Oh, sorry.
Let's not talk about that, Jen. Yeah.
but the early bird sale starts at 5 in the morning, and that is all about coming in your pajamas. So that seems to me like a really fun idea that could involve the kids if we could figure out. But I don't think I'd want to do that by school for like 7, 8 weeks. Every Saturday. So I'm thinking
three schools, maybe, and plus maybe the fourth would be the middle school.
So just one of the things is, sorry, which him?
I'm going to let the elder speak first, then we'll go to Steve the younger. Mr. Verrill.
Oh, is that me?
Yeah.
Speaking of the elder, I was thinking another version of that might be to have it from 5 to 8 p.m. And that wouldn't keep anybody up past their hours and still give a chance to socialize and maybe eat at a restaurant.
Yeah. Stephen Crane?
So one of the things that we're doing is working with to help enable the school's reopening plan. We are, right now, we're still building it out and haven't been licensed yet, but the town operating after-school programs in the elementary schools. And so, because as a part of the plan is elementary school kids are in every day, but only for a half a day. And so once they're done in schooling at, I think, noontime or in the middle of the part of the day, then they'll go to a classroom or go to a program area where our after school program will kick in. And so certainly for that time period, there is an opportunity for parents of those elementary school children to maybe have a little free time, because I think, because one of the things is, I know my kids are a little bit older now, but 5 to 8 was absolutely 100% the worst time of the day when they were younger, because it was dinner, homework, activities, because activities probably are going to restart. And so like any freedom you had in the afternoon, like, was just the greatest. So Just an alternative thought. I don't, once those programs get going and the schools reopen and we see how robust that participation is, maybe we can look at that as kind of an opportunity for a economic vitality program.
Jane, you had a comment?
Dawn has been promoting staying open late during the holiday season for years now, and she hasn't unfortunately gotten a lot of traction from it, but this year may be different. And maybe, Dawn, you want to say a few things, because I always thought that was a great idea to stay open a few hours late. It was, I don't know, you stay open to 8 or 9 o'clock. I know Marie Foley stays open late a couple nights. I think there's more interest in it this year than there has been in the past because of the limitations of number of people in stores. So there might be a way of combining that. I think you can get a lot of the retailers and clearly the restaurants. We discussed this, I think, last week or a week before. They could go shopping and go out to eat, or they can go out to eat and shopping. There seems to be a nice pairing there that could happen during and maybe starting before Thanksgiving, so that, you know, they can extend that period of time. Maybe it's right after Veterans Day that starts. I don't know, Dawn, I think you had proposed starting that in October in previous years.
Sure. So we historically have been open Thursday nights. We stay open Thursdays until 9. Post-COVID, we are not. We close at 5 o'clock during the week. And then we were always open, to your point, Jane, the 2 weeks before Christmas, we would stay open until 8 or 9 o'clock every night. And it did work. I mean, we were the only people in town who were open late. I mean, Marie was open sometimes in some of the other shops, but it wasn't consistent. I would be happy to entertain like a first and third Thursday until 9 if there was a mass, you know, if there were other vendors doing it. I can't be the only retailer in town doing it because I can't staff it and it doesn't make sense economically, but we need to start it early. I would say the first Thursday of October. I am concerned about restrictions on retailers coming back. And I think that October is the new December. And the more we can get people into the shops here in town and drive that message home. I mean, there are, I know in my industry, there are supply chain challenges. If you read the Times, you read about publishers talking about, you know, the books just won't be here, shop early. And that's probably true in many industries. So I'd love to have that conversation, and I would be willing to jump on board with 2 Thursdays a month starting the beginning of October, evening hours.
Idea.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, Dawn. I will totally do that with you. And I actually think, I don't know if well, I could do it. Nights work for me right now with kid stuff. I would even start the last week in September, because I'm just thinking this, I may be wrong, but I'm always a last minute shipper. That is done. I mean, we've been having trouble getting packages from UPS and the post office in August. So I don't think there's any chance of assuming something will ship. I'm just thinking people are going to have to ship earlier if they want. I think sadly, I'm just thinking worst case scenarios. A lot of people aren't going to be spending Thanksgiving with the big, huge parties that they used to, and maybe not Christmas. Or if they do Thanksgiving, maybe they're going to bring the Christmas gifts to where they go. I think there's going to be a lot more shipping and earlier. And there are the last minute people that always will be, but I think those planners that are out there, and there are a lot of planners, especially moms, and dads, whoever's helping with the school day, do not have the option to just wing it. So I'm full on board. I will totally do that with you.
And I'd like to propose.
Sorry, Deborah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'd like to propose that maybe we do a pajama sale throughout the whole town. So it doesn't have to be, it could be 2 Saturdays, one in October and one in early November. That just, let's say from 5 to 8, before any of us would be open, that we want everyone to come in their pajamas and shop. And in our store, we always do everything in the store 20% off. So that's why it's such a busy day. But it would be fun to have a pajama sale throughout town.
Remon and then Beth.
Sorry, so just from these are great ideas, and 1 or 2 days here and there is fine and we'll participate, but there is diminishing returns when we stay open and we don't have the volume. Because I think right now, again, it might be a volume issue. How do we get people to come out, right? Not just 1 or 2 days, but how do we have them come out consistently throughout the next couple of months, whether we have tighter restrictions or not? Something I was thinking is maybe doing a reverse, it takes a little more work, and I don't know if we can pull this off, but a reverse passport program where instead of, our guests coming in with something for us to stamp, they go back, do a drawing. What if all the retailers or participating retailers, restaurants had something that people come in to redeem or something to come in to get, whether it's a, I'm not a marketer, but you might have to look at a PR company, but there's a lot of companies that do different events like Monopoly or something that you have to come and collect, you have to get it. It could be a scratch card. Like they have these promotions that you come in, we can have stacks of these. The guest comes in with, you purchase something, then you get the scratch card. And each prize on the scratch card is, I don't know, a percentage off. It could be a gift card. It could be whatever we decide, but something to drive traffic to the store. So people have to go to the retailers. Just trying to think of something to get people. It needs to be a call to action where someone has to go out and come and really visit a location. So maybe there needs to be a subcommittee to like work on that. But yeah, I wish I had the exact idea, but I do know. The other thing I was thinking is to get them to come back after, because if it's going to be hard now, it's going to be even harder after the holidays, which is typically the slower time of year for most people, especially the restaurant industry. We specifically have a program that we do that we pass out these envelopes that cannot be redeemed until after the holidays. We've had a lot of success with that. So maybe, thinking again a little bit ahead, we have to get people in the first place, but if we can get them in and then also give them something to come back, a repeat visit to make them come back and redeem an offer, it will help drive traffic after the holidays as well. That's typically going to be really hard.
Mm-hmm. Beth, did you have a comment?
I was just going to tell you that starting tomorrow, since you guys brought up Thursday nights, tomorrow is our first evening tour. Thursdays and Saturdays, we are now running a 3 cemeteries tour. It starts at 4, it's 90 minutes. So I would love it if somebody wants to, make sure we know about that, you're staying open that Thursday night, because then they could go to dinner right after. That was part of the reason we chose the 4 o'clock time, is because of mosquitoes and Tripoli, and by the end of October, it'll be dark at 5:30. So, but it's a brand new tour. Tomorrow's the first one. There's been a lot of talk about it, so I think people are excited about it. It should be a lot of fun. But we have that running 4 o'clock Thursdays and Saturday nights. And we are also developing a kid-friendly tour for the afternoons. So kids that are remote, have babysitters in the afternoon, are doing homeschooling. I've had a couple of requests for parents that are bringing kids on tours. So we are in the development process for that too. So keep us in mind as you're coming up with these programs, that there may be, I try to stay pretty nimble and create things based on demand. So I'm not afraid to try a new tour or a new activity. It works, we can continue it, great. We know that there's no buses right now, so the Concord Museum can't have buses full of 60 kids learning their Revolutionary War history. So what can we do to share the Concord history with people that live here that a lot of times don't know it, don't have all the details. We have the wedding this weekend, and the bride grew up here. She's getting married in her parents' backyard. We're doing a 30-minute special tour customized to them. For her 25 guests, and I was talking to her about ways to make the connections between the Robbins house and what happened April 19th, and who was living at the manse during April 19th, and she's like, wait, those are all connected? And I'm like, well, yeah, absolutely, they are. So she was thrilled that we could give a really concise 30-minute tour. So that was what really got us started to think about, some of these homeschooling and remote opportunities, like how can we serve that population that's looking for something to do in the afternoon.
Good idea.
So,
Jen?
I have another quick idea, kind of on like Remon was saying. would it be helpful if I offered, when I'm going to put together these girlfriend night out packages that have maximum of 5 people so I can have 2 staff, if they came to my store from 6 to 7:30 or 5:30, 6 to 7:30 say, and in that package, they would then go from my store to Ramon's restaurant or to another restaurant, and that could be part of a package, and there might be some sort of a deal that I can throw in or something with that. And then I was thinking initially florists, how could you get the florists involved? But it's probably like 1 bouquet. Or a girls' night of drinking. What's the most profitable thing for you? Is it having them come in for cocktails and appetizers, or even send them home with a goodie bag of a take-home meal or a take-home dessert if they don't want to do the dinner? I don't, and I'm really truly hoping I'm going to do a lot of these in the fall. So just an idea. I'd be happy if that seems like that could be something worthwhile.
Also,
Jennifer?
well, Jen, you reminded me of something. So one of the challenges that I have that I'm sure a lot of other people have is if you want to go out with a friend and have dinner and you're not living in the same household, you have to sit 6 feet apart, right? Or you should. And the tables in restaurants are set up a little further than that. But if you are a group together and you say you have 2 tables and you're each sitting at the end of those 2 tables, the tables can be a little bit closer together because the people are 6 feet apart. And it's been challenging to find, actually, Remon, that's why I loved eating out at your place last night. It was my husband and I, and then my brother. And so you had 2 two-tops that were perfectly set up. And my brother kind of sat like, on the corner of one of the 2 tops. And it was just perfect spacing to be able to hang out. And I would imagine there's a lot of people that are struggling with how to go out to dinner with friends in the time of COVID. It's just a thought that if we could find a good solution with a couple of the restaurants, say you've got a group of 4 girls that want to go shopping and then go out for dinner, how can they sit together while not sitting inside? Because your masks are off to eat, so you've got to be 6 feet apart. I don't know, Remon, if it's even, I'm asking you because you're the restaurant that's in the group, but in an outdoor setting, is there a way to set up like friend tables that are, the people are 6 feet apart without the individual tables being 6 feet apart?
The space is the biggest challenge because you just need, we don't have enough room to accommodate, enough people to really make a difference. And then also, I like having the collaboration and partnership with retailers, and then, whether we have maybe goodie bags that we hand out at the end of our meal with all the retailers to put something in there as an offer, and we can hand out to everybody, and then they can go, and then on the other side is like maybe have the retailers have the same thing for restaurants, and then they can just give it with every purchase, and maybe that can be a great way to push people back and forth. I love the idea, Jen. I just wish that there was a way that we just, and plus it's going to get really cold. We're already going to start getting challenges with, even with the heaters and trying to find ways to get people comfortable for as long as we can outside.
Jen, then Mark.
Could, Remon, we can even talk afterwards, but could you imagine if I had 5 people, and it might be 10 a night, so do an early one and a later one, and that I could have a tiny, like you and I could put together a tiny menu that we'd have a week before that could either have like, because can you sell cocktails? Okay,
Yeah,
so
just
maybe it could,
food, that's all.
Oh, with food, but maybe we could put a dessert thing together or whatever, and then I could come and pick up, say they would order the 5, I would come pick up the 5, and maybe they want it for their family too. And then they could pay me or you, but do you think that might work? Is that even enough volume, 10 people in a night?
Look, we'll take whatever we can get. So, I mean, it's
So
definitely, we can discuss that for sure.
Okay, maybe we can.
Yeah, it sounds like we have some germs of some really good ideas here, right? These small group shopping nights are a really cool idea. Collaborating between the shops and the restaurants, another good idea. I think, seems like the message I'm hearing is we need to drive as much traffic to the retail areas as we can, as early as we can in the holiday season, right? So on that front, using the schools as a target, those are audiences, those are communities that may be interested in coming out en masse on a regular basis. So I think for the next Concord Together call, which is tomorrow morning, we've got a number of good ideas to follow up on. Mark?
So, sort of a maybe, sort of idea from left field. Is there any sort of scenario where it's almost like, adopt a Concord small business, almost like adopt a kid? And that is, I'd commit, say, to spend X dollars at Brian's or at, Fiorella's, or I would commit to send an email to 50 of my Concord friends to say, if you haven't, get a lawn sign, go shop, go talk to so-and-so, they're great, learn their, I hate to keep pounding the drum, but we can't just have 50 signs at the visitor center. We need to literally take people by the collar and say, go get the sign, go put it on your front yard, go shop. I know that Sharon Spalding, I think, or someone else, is going to have a sort of I shopped in Concord sticker to apply. We need to be more grassroots. This is a movement. It's a political movement. If we're not reaching out to 10 to 20, 50 people on our email list to say, hey, it may not be on your radar, but please make it on your radar, I think we're missing a great opportunity.
So Mark, can I ask you to take the lead to draft that email and send it to everyone on this committee? And then can I ask everyone in this committee to send it to at least 20 friends?
Yeah, I think it should be personalized. So for example,
yeah, sorry,
we're all going to look at our own network and use our own vernacular as to, hey, here's my assessment of what's going on, here's how you can help. But I think the umbrella message is the same. And it's still getting people to have the conversation, whether they're with their spouse in the car, driving by a sign, or whether, literally they're talking about buying something on Amazon, not to pick on Amazon, to just hit the pause button to say, hey, maybe you should think about X, Y, and Z. But, but yes, I'm happy to draft a generic umbrella type of message that people would need to tailor to their group or groups.
Mm-hmm. Steve.
Yeah, we included the Fall in Love with Concord in our ad in the Journal this week, and maybe a little more mention of that. But on another vein, in a number of the meetings, we've talked about increasing the internet presence and online shopping and searching for deliveries. And I was wondering if there's anybody in the area, maybe not even in Concord quite, that has a taxi service or delivery or something that maybe could be supplemented with one of the grants that's out there to develop the business we've all been thinking about, some local deliveries.
I'm curious, it would be interesting to know how many of the retailers think it would help move the needle if you could offer deliveries. Do you think that would make a dent in the kind of the sales shortfall?
I think it's also, though, helping the retailers get packages to the postal services. Like they get orders online or over the phone, but getting it packed up and to the post office or the UPS or the FedEx is challenging, isn't it? Jen, you probably had an experience with that.
So I'm sorry, having a daughter issue at the moment. Come back in a minute. Sorry. Go, you might be on screen, darling. I'm sorry. The question, you had said something about delivery and then I got interrupted.
Just, would it be helpful, like I think you're a good example of a smaller capacity store, if you knew that twice a day, someone was going to pop up to your door and grab, say, you had a bunch of bags with order tags stapled to them with the addresses of where they're going, and someone could grab them, take them to another location, wrap them up, pack them up, and bring them to the post office. Is that helpful to you or not?
It's not unhelpful, but really, truly, I'm like, how in the heck do I get how do I get people into my store? Like, just like Deborah said, we've piggybacked the last couple years off of her, the pajama sale. And it was literally the second highest dollar sales day last year we had. And I'm like, and we did 20% off too. Well, we did 20% for the first hour, then 15, then 10. And I don't know how, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to generate those sales. So it could be, I mean, Joy Street is literally down the street from the post office. So we often run someone over. My husband will help. If we had so here's the thing. One of the things I learned during COVID is at first I was doing free delivery everywhere, like free drop off, like driving my car. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm one person and I have 2 hours. And it's not worth it for me to spend an hour driving these 3 things over when I could be selling more. So maybe, but it's not the first thing that I would need at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to mention the post office, you can arrange for them to pick up packages. They won't pack them for you, but they will pick them up at your business.
Oh, okay.
So just to, in case somebody didn't know that. We do a lot of mail order, we used to. At
I think, Jane, it would be helpful maybe if you could ask your membership if they would be, how delivery could help them achieve their goals this holiday season. Because I think that setting up a delivery service, even kind of within Concord, is not an easy thing to do. But if it was really going to be a needle mover for you guys, then I think it may be worth investing some time to figure out how it could happen. I could imagine with a lot of college kids coming home for Thanksgiving and being here for the duration of the holidays, you could probably get a number of kids who are willing to, for $20 an hour, just drive around Concord and make deliveries in their parents' cars. But again, setting something up like that, it's going to take some effort. And I wouldn't want to go through that effort unless we were convinced it was really going to help, move your sales measurably. Jen?
I just had an idea. What if we are there any businesses locally that do corporate gifts? And what if we did a gift of Concord and we could all put things in? They could say, this is your budget. Let's say it's $100. And you could do $50 at Fiorella's, some $10, $15 gift from here, something from Vero, something from the bookstore. And then that would be incredibly helpful if we had corporate companies around here saying, we'll take 20 gift of Concord, 20 of these and 50, and then having people volunteer to help assemble them and deliver. That would be awesome. And that's a way that they don't have to come into the store. I mean, I'd help do that because I've been thinking I've got to do corporate gifts in addition to all my.
That's an awesome idea, Jen. That's an awesome idea.
Just thinking what gets the maximum people with the least time in your store that covers the most businesses.
And then if we gave gift certificates, not products, then they would have to come in and spend that gift certificate. And there's a good chance they're going to spend more than that gift certificate, right?
I found they don't really, but that's just my experience. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, it totally could be gift certificates, but I think it would.
Combination.
It'd be nice to have a combination, like something yummy from Deborah's and I mean, all, I don't know.
Yeah. Good idea. Great idea. Great idea. Stephen?
Yeah, John, just, sorry, Deborah. Just a couple quick thoughts, putting all this together. When you were talking about kind of the online partnership between retailers and restaurants, the kind of visual I had, and I don't know how I have zero knowledge of how to do web-based stuff, but what I was thinking of was like when you book a flight and it says, do you need a rental car? Do you need a hotel room? Is there a way to do that where if someone is, Jennifer, if you have somebody booking an appointment for their girls shopping thing and they book a certain time, it's then do you need to get something to eat after? Do you need another thing? And kind of point and click way through that. I don't know if that's possible or not, but that's what I was seeing when I heard you and Remon talking, which I thought was very creative. The other thing I'm hearing from all of you is timing, like it's got to start now. And I think the thought occurred to me that, there's that, only 20 shopping days till Christmas. Well, if you are all at half capacity, that means there are half as many shopping days till Christmas for people to enjoy. And I didn't think I never thought of that until I heard the dialogue about the limited capacity and the limited opportunity to get in and shop. And so is there in terms, and going back into Mark's point, when you're messaging people, is a component of that message like, you need to get started your holiday shopping now because there are limitations on capacity. And so get started because you only have half as much opportunity or something like that. I don't know. I don't want to make it, I don't want to scare people away either, but there is with the restrictions, you really don't have as many opportunities to go anywhere you want.
I think we need a PR campaign to push that message. We need journal articles. We need stuff on Facebook. We need, Deborah, you
Yeah, so you asked about whether delivery service would be helpful. I personally think it's more trouble than it's worth. I know in the beginning we were just driving ourselves crazy that we had to be able to deliver to people's homes. And we found that just allowing people to place an order online and be able to pick up outside, and I know the Concord bookstore has been doing the same thing, and that people have settled into that routine. So it's now comfortable for them. When they come to the store, they call, they tell us what color their car is, and we go and we bring it outside. So I think we've already created comfort level around picking up outside the store. And I just think it's going down a huge rabbit hole. I can see insurance, I can see packages going to the wrong house. I mean, I think if we could have some place, maybe in places of worship, to have gifts packed or wrapped, that would be a great idea. And that money, we could pay someone to wrap them, but also we could, maybe part of that, the cost of wrapping could go into a fund for businesses that need help.
Jen McGonigal, kind of building on your idea and putting it together with Deborah's thought, if we, and I'm happy to use the Discover Concord page as a go-between for this, because I have a shopping cart that's really easy to add new products. We could offer the gift of Concord at, say, 3 to 5 budget levels. And, we could get products from different shops and restaurants who want to participate. We can offer it through individual channels. I love the idea of corporate gifts. Deborah, you brought up houses of worship. What a great idea that, we could tap into those communities of, hey, if you want to help Concord and you're looking to get your holiday shopping done, here's a twofer. And then the other one is we should go out to the schools with those ideas of, send something home to the parents as a way for the schools to be supporting the Concord Together or, initiative. So that could all be served off of one menu.
And Hanukkah comes really early this year.
Yes. So, yeah. Don?
Yeah.
Unmute.
Don, you're muted.
Don, you're muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
Sorry. Went back and forth there. I love the bundling, Jen, the different retail and food establishments. We just have to come up with a different name because Gift of Concord is the Cambridge Trust gives.
Yeah.
But it's lovely. It's a great idea.
Jen's dog agrees. I just want to point out that we have a little over 10 minutes left in our meeting. And this has been, when I suggested, hey, let's have a little creativity. I didn't think we get all of this. This is excellent, really excellent. I just, other items in the agenda that we had updates from other committee members. I don't know whether people have any updates or ideas that they haven't shared yet, but if anyone has anything, Jen?
If my dog allows me to speak. I came across something called the Mass Vacant Storefronts campaign, and it's apparently some sort of grant. It's a program that helps municipalities drive local economic development by offering an incentive for businesses to occupy vacant ground floor storefronts in downtowns or other commercial areas. I don't know much about it. Stephen or Beth, have you heard of it? Do you know if it's something that Concord qualifies for?
Stephen?
I did see your thing about it, Jennifer, but I haven't chased it down.
Yeah, I mean, I looked into it really briefly. I think we qualify, but I was waiting to talk to Marsha because she's really good at figuring out what we qualify for. But it's a really interesting program.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to, my read of it was you have to hit a certain critical mass of vacancy. And I just don't know if we, I mean, God willing, I hope we never hit that. I mean, I think it would be good news if we didn't qualify, but we will, Beth and I will get with Marsh and chase that down.
Great. Any other updates from any members?
I just have
I did
one
want to raise.
question.
Yeah, sorry, Jen. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly go back to one thing that Dawn and Jen were saying. Jen, you were jumping all over opening up a couple nights a week, but Dawn, you were saying you needed a few other stores to make that really worthwhile. Could you just give me a sense of that so I can maybe poll some people? How many businesses in downtown Concord would you need to have open, retailers, to make it a go?
I haven't looked at the numbers. We haven't reopened in the evenings because even not every store is open on Mondays. You know, as I said, we're open 7 days a week now. So I'm pushing my staff limitations, and I'm operating a lot of times with an empty store, but I'm trying to build consistency. That's the reason that we're open 7 days a week. To answer your question, Jane, I think we'd have to have probably 4 or 5 other retailers in Concord Center, and at least 2 restaurants open.
Okay.
And Dawn, you're saying because
Evenings.
that provides enough of a draw to bring people out.
Exactly. I mean, frankly, I feel like sometimes I'm happy to be a draw, but I feel like the days that we're open, we might be the only.
You'd like some other draws as well.
I'd like some other. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for finishing my sentence. Yes.
You know,
Jennifer?
I grew up in Kennebunkport, Maine, and we have an event every year. They're called Christmas Prelude, and it's different than our holiday stroll here. And the businesses aren't necessarily open beyond their normal hours, except that some of the seasonal stores will reopen. But they just make a real effort during this weekend to have like music playing in the stores and like cookies and hot apple cider kind of thing. And it's just, and you'll have singing in the square, or just, I wonder if there's a way, because I know holiday stroll is going to be kind of hard to pull off this year. I don't know what the thinking is on that, but it does draw a lot of people. If we did something just within the stores all on around 1 or 2 holiday weekends to just make it more of an event without it being crossing over into a festival. But
we do festive music over the holidays. I'm telling you that I know that my staff would be leery of offering food and beverages. The whole masking is critical, and I need to keep them as comfortable as customers. I love the festive idea. I mean, anything that we can do to get people in. Maybe maybe a little. My kids used to make that reindeer food. It was like glitter and oatmeal, and so it's kind of a to-go thing. It's not a food that you eat in there, but we can do some kind of takeout festivity, wrapped candy cane.
Steve? Sorry.
We've had great success in pre-selling time slots, prepaid online, to come and pick strawberries or to pick sunflowers, fixed amount of money for a fixed amount of product in a fixed time period. And we've been able to regulate the number of people that come by limiting the slots available. And I don't know, there's some way to have a version of that where somebody could pre-purchase $25 or $50 of goods that they could buy at a certain time with one person in the store, or one of them and maybe a couple others, but just one in their party, and be able to purchase dollars at 10% discount to that amount of money or something. It's just a beginning of a thought.
Yeah, I was thinking we could perhaps do that, hopefully not just in West Concord, but townwide, again, back to the pajama party, which is so much fun. What about if people have to make their reservations in advance for different slots coming in pajamas, and they get a discount for booking that? All right,
Jennifer, do you-
I won't speak about the pajama
There-
party
there-
anymore. But
There are so many good ideas here. I'm not quite sure, how we move forward with them. I think that, again, there's a Concord Together call tomorrow. I'm glad it's only the very beginning of September. It makes me it reminds me that, sometimes in the past when like you see all the holiday decorations come out in stores, it used to be after Thanksgiving. Now it's before Thanksgiving. And sometimes you roll your eyes like, oh my God, but like, what if we just had everyone decorate their stores for the holidays starting October 1st or something? Does that accelerate everyone and get them into the mood,
Yeah.
All right, so we're coming up on our end of our time. I wanted to raise a question that Jennifer raised with me earlier. We were talking about whether this committee should continue to meet every 2 weeks, or we originally intended to be a once a month committee. When the pandemic struck and we saw the need to meet a lot, we implemented this every 2 weeks schedule. But I just wanted to kind of take people's temperatures and say, and ask, is there anybody who would like to see us shift to a monthly schedule, or should we continue with these every 2 weeks? I don't want to get people out unnecessarily.
I don't think with the holidays coming that we can afford to go back to once a month.
Okay. Does this mean you too, Jen? Can't hear you, but okay. You're muted. Mark?
John, I was sort of, drawing the lens back to 25,000 feet. I'm looking at the minutes from this past meeting and thinking about minutes prior meetings. And I guess my question to the group is, and maybe to you and Jen as sort of the chairs, are we doing what we are supposed to do? And that is, I don't see too many resolutions. I don't see too many proposed actions. But I see a lot of coordination. I see a lot of think tank-like things. And I guess my question to the group is, and I wish I'm blanking on, but if our mission is to help the select board or to help Stephen and Beth, whatever the heck our mission is, I'm just wondering, and I'm not being cynical about it, but I'm just trying to figure out, are we doing it? And I think that relates to how many times we should be meeting. So if we're not meeting and it's more of coordination, well, maybe it's less important, but if we have concrete things we're proposing and following up on, maybe that's a different analysis.
Can I?
My immediate, go ahead, Stephen.
No, go ahead, John, you first.
I was going to say my immediate reaction, Mark, is that I think we are doing what we intended to do. I was going to raise the question on this call as to whether we're doing things that are big enough, right? I mean, I think that, for example, Henry's idea was a big idea, right? That hasn't gotten traction. We haven't really made any earth-shattering proposals yet to the select board, at least nothing that's been adopted. But I don't think that's for lack of trying. I think that this is a good forum for raising ideas and getting people's thinking going. And I don't think that we're missing anything obvious. I don't think there's anything that we should be doing or proposing that we haven't. But I do wish that we could do things that would be, I call them needle movers, right? Move the needle in a much more meaningful way for me. I wish we could find a way to help Remon, double his business between September and November. I wish we could find a way to satisfy or solve the capacity constraints in all the stores. I wish there were things we could do, but I don't think we're missing anything. But I do think it's, what we're doing, I think is helpful. And the Concord survey results from 2 weeks ago that we shared, they said people found all these things helpful. So I think we're helping, but I don't think that we are eradicating the impact of the pandemic, sadly.
So I guess, John, I agree with you. I think, in terms of what the Economic Vitality Committee was conceived of back when it was formed as an offshoot of Envision Concord, the long-range plan, I don't know that this was it. But in terms of, providing advice or recommendations to the select board and town manager, I think you guys are crushing it in that department because we don't, we're limited in our ability to understand what the actual things businesses need. And I think we're really in the ground game territory right now. I mean, big kind of overarching policy recommendations are fine, but they're not gonna get you, parklets, sidewalk sales. Like, those are the types of things I think have been really masterful in how this committee has operated and come up with its, groupthink and recommendations. I think not only are you doing what you are, I think, are supposed to be doing, I think you're doing it more creatively and more assertively than probably was really envisioned for as a policy advisory committee. And I think it's been hugely helpful for me, and I know it has for Beth as well, to get a clear, direct sense of this is the thing we need. And some of the things are concrete, like the barriers. I mean, some things are specific, and we say, yeah, we can do that. Other things are, okay, how do we build to that? And so I know it's a lot of, it is a struggle for many businesses, but I think we are moving the needle, even though it's like a clock. Like, if you watch the second hand of a clock move, it seems to go awfully slow, but if you turn around for 5 minutes, it's moved noticeably. And I think that's the way I feel about this. I think we have moved the needle in terms of when I first got here, all I heard about was that there was zero economic vitality structure for the town. And now we have someone who, our erstwhile economic vitality coordinator, and we have an economic vitality committee. We've got Concord Together, which has been, I think, one of the greatest things that's happened for this community all year. And so I do feel like you guys are doing an excellent job in advocating for the economic vitality needs of the community, both in a broad sense, but also in a very real and specific sense. And so I think, keep it up, really. I mean, it's really, you're doing great work, and it's making my job, I say easier. It's making my job a lot more approachable, in that I know what things we need to tackle. And so I do think that if you look at the original mission, maybe not, but I think, if you ask people who were participating in the long range plan, how would you feel about retailers and restaurants partnering together to improve sales for each other as an outcome for the EVC? Pre-COVID, they would say, wow, that's a really great thing if we could do that. And now you guys are doing it with regularity. So congratulations.
I think that's right, Stephen. I appreciate those words. And Mark, if you think back, how many years of the partnership, did we were we frustrated? There was very little dialogue, not enough dialogue between the businesses in the town, not really any appreciation for the role the businesses were playing in the community. I think we're making progress. It isn't where it may be eventually, but I do think we're making good progress. And I think, too, the composition of this committee is really excellent, because we have such a cross section of interests. And so it's like having kind of a mini research survey every 2 weeks. We can get kind of real-time feedback on what ideas have potential, what don't, and even start engendering some of those partnerships. So I think we're making progress. Jen?
Quickly, Mark, do you think, I have to think more about what you were saying, but do you think, with what you wish, this vision of really making it like everybody knows what Concord Together is, do you have a list of what things need to be done to make that happen, or an idea, or we could as a group make them, and then we could try to tick off, like take a piece of that and try and do it? Like, is it getting in touch with the Journal? Is it finding out how we get 50 signs to each? How many signs do we have, by the way? Do we only have 50, or do we have hundreds?
50 and 100 coming next week.
Actually, there's 100 that arrived in my house today,
And another 100
that I just printed on my own, and I'm bringing those to Beth, 50 of them to Beth tomorrow.
Okay.
The town bought nicer versions of the sign that are two-sided, and I think those are coming in like another week or so.
Yep.
So
Okay. Could we make a list or a Google Doc somewhere that has, in an ideal world, what are the things that we could do to have this really become better known, and then see if we can take pieces? I mean, again, I'm strapped, but I do believe what Mark's saying is true. Like, I don't think anybody on my street knows what Concord Together is. I haven't been talking to him a lot. It's summer, but I don't know, anything, I think it's true. Mass, if you get talked about more, I don't know.
So I sort of view this, I guess the analogy would be a political campaign. So it's an agenda, it's a social media presence, it's having sort of the generals and the lieutenants, literally going out and, sort of shaking hands or not shaking hands nowadays, but, sending emails and following up and really pushing and influencing in a respectful way so that your constituency, whatever that may be, you've effectively reached out to them. They know what's going on. And come election day, they're going to show up and vote. No different than pushing a warrant article. It's just really that grassroots piece that we're going to miss. We can't stick signs at the visitor center and expect they're magically going to appear on lawns. It won't happen.
So, yeah, I think, Mark, excellent point. And I think what I was going to say is we should be tracking who name and address of who picks up the signs. And while I was thinking more instead of political campaign where you're just loading up for one day, for a one-day event, the election, the vote, whatever. I was thinking more Amway, where if someone comes and picks up a sign, is there a way to give them an incentive to get 10 of their neighbors and friends to go get 10 signs, and then each one of them get 10 of their friends, and on, and find a way to incentivize that. And we'll keep ordering signs. They're pretty cheap, all things considered.
I think we're getting a little confused between the work of Concord Together and the work of this group. And I think the mandate of this group is to look at policies, procedures, and things that the government organization of the town of Concord can be doing to facilitate economic development. And so things like the sidewalk sales where barriers are made available, or the discounted heat lamps, or rebates on liquor licenses, things that affect town laws and policies, the sign sort of hall pass to let people, the real grassroots effort, Mark, that you're talking about, I think is incredibly important. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's something that the volunteers of the Concord Together initiative, or even just us as individuals, should be pushing versus the work of this government body. I don't know.
The only thing I would just say in response is, I think if we were being really sort of procedurally sort of, transparent, we would literally, we would send a communication to Stephen and Beth to say, hey, the signs are ordered. This is what we recommend. This is who to sort of contact. Here's how to execute. And we can't necessarily help you execute, but we might be able to put you in touch with the following so that we're giving guidance. As Stephen was alluding to earlier, he may not have the data. We're giving him that data and maybe some ideas to help him execute. So I do think that is consistent with the mission. We're just not that formal about it. And so when I was alluding to the fact that we don't necessarily have resolutions per se in our minutes, we've done tremendous things that may not be so obvious if you look through our minutes. That's all I'm saying. So I do think, though, there is a direction and a philosophical partnership with Stephen's team that I think we can fulfill in a policy-related way.
Mark, I think that's a nice conclusion. Dawn, I'm going to give you the last comment of the day, but I want to be respectful of people's schedules.
I can hold it. I can wait till next week.
No, go ahead.
Well, as we were talking, I'm thinking of the Labadini kids with their Unite with Light.
Mm-hmm.
We need, I don't know, high school community service kids, and put this out there as a project. Get some young energy, or get them to distribute the signs. Ask them to help us tell people why they should have a sign in their yard. It's a thought. I think kids can do a lot.
Good thoughts. Yeah, well, I think you're right. We're going to have a lot of kids around this fall too. Absolutely.
There were two high school kids in Lexington who, when they were in a store at Concord, I think it was Verrill Farm, and they heard about the Concord Together initiative, these two 16-year-old young ladies were so inspired by it that they started Step Up Lexington, which is exactly the Concord Together program in Lexington. And it's entirely run by two 16-year-old girls.
That's amazing.
And it's kicking butt. So don't underestimate the power of the next generation, for sure.
All right, I think with that, we got to sign off.
But I
Jan, you want to give us an update on your septic problem?
It's really bad. We have to tear the whole thing apart. We have to remove everything. It's a massive, horrible thing. I can't even begin to tell you how bad it is. But anyway, that's not why I raised my hand. All I really wanted to say is that I'm always thinking, I heard a lot of this today, not every bit of it, but I'm always trying to think of how we can have the historic side, the museum side, somehow be helpful in all of this, and of course help the museum side as well. And I feel like I haven't come up with a whole lot, but one quick thing I will mention now, and then we can talk about it later if it makes any sense, is when you were talking about some of these like evenings or packages or whatever, it occurred to me that maybe we could put together something from a museum so that it would be like a little surprise gift that they'd be paying almost nothing for. I mean, we'd have to charge something, but we could make no profit on it and just have it be sort of an incentive. So if you come and you shop that night, you could, maybe there's a raffle and you win a whole little goodie bag from Louise May Alcott's Orchard House or something like that. Right now, though, I have to say this massive problem is it's horrible. I said to my staff member that I was talking with, I think it's just the apocalypse now. I really do. We had massive tree branches down night before last, and then this thing yesterday, and then the ServPro people told us what we have to do. Everything has to come out. We have to rip out the carpet, rip out walls.
Jan, is this at Orchard House?
It's not the Orchard House Museum building. It's our building next door.
The one up on the hill?
Offices, yes.
Oh no.
And the whole education department it was the in-law apartment when that was a private home. They had an in-law apartment. So our education department took that over. That's their space. And I mean, it's almost beyond belief, but you know, you have to deal with this stuff. It happens, you have to deal with it. It's so disheartening right now. But anyway, I still think what you all are doing is vital because this all will pass and we'll survive it, but it's pretty bad.
Thank you, everybody. It sounds like we're going to reconvene in 2 weeks. So keep the date in your calendar and we'll see you then. Thanks. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't just say thanks.
We
I
made
got
a vote.
to call for an adjournment. Sorry.
Move to adjourn.
So, geez, I'd hate to violate that rule. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Okay. I'm going to go right around the window. Steve, how do you vote?
He's muted.
Just give a thumbs up.
Aye.
If you are Steve, Dawn,
Aye.
Jen, thumbs up. Jane,
Aye.
Deborah,
Up.
Ramon,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Beth, Jan, final word.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Aye.